of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the minutes were sent via email on November 21st, 2022. I'll accept a motion.
Motion to accept.
Seconded.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
3-0. We had payroll totaling $264,407.55 and claims totaling $926,851.67.
Motion to accept the financials.
Approved or seconded.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
3-0. Moving and representing the sheriff today, or is he out?
I have, here's the
Say,
numbers.
if you got the numbers, I just heard there was an accident.
Yep, right ahead.
31 pretrial circuit, 28 pretrial superior, 15 DOC, 7 county, DOC F6, 7 county and 3 regular DOC, 84 total.
84 total, thanks.
No F6, huh?
You want to see that?
Yeah. 3 DOC, okay. Jeez, I got you. Sean? Highway?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Don?
I want to start with, I guess I'll tell you what we've been doing, and I have a couple things I've been working on here, and I just wanted to make you aware of the situation that we will be coming into. I'll start with saying we have our fleet all dressed up, tested, prepared, ready for snow. Everything's functioning properly right now, and we're ready to take that battle on. We're adjusting some berm issues out there to where we see that they're a little too deep, and we don't want to have any road departures from that, especially in the snow. It becomes more common. We're going to begin to cut brush, so we'll be getting rid of some of the sight distance problems we have at intersections and other places throughout the county during the winter months when it's a lot easier to do in the cooler weather. We had a couple drainage issues this summer that we were unable to get to. We're taking care of them here while we have decent weather. And I would like to get into a chip spreader problem that we have and have incurred, and I've been getting it looked at, tested, quoted, trying to figure out what our best course of action would be. We have a 21-year-old chip spreader that was failing us periodically through the summer, and we just kept putting Band-Aids on it, limping along, trying to get our season done. I have gotten quotes to repair that issue from Southeastern, is where the machine was purchased from, and it's the local Ettenauer dealer. Its birthday was the day the guy got in touch with me. The day we bought it about 4 weeks ago, was 21 years. And we have an opportunity. I started looking at different chip spreaders, and I got some quotes, one being back in July and another one being here in November. And the two I got were, one was an Ettenauer, one was a Leeboy. One was at $400,000, the other one was about $401,000. And they were variable width chip spreader, which would allow us to go with a 20-foot stretch, was the largest one I got in those quotes. Here, some new information came in this week, and there was a municipality in Ohio that had ordered one and backed out of it. So it's sitting on ground, ready for delivery right now. If we were to order one of the other ones, or if you think that's the route to go, we would be waiting 6 months. So if we ordered it like today, it would be May before we got it. But this one came in at $398,000, and it is more of a spreader than we're quoted for on the two proposals that I have. And it's readily available.
Will it do both lanes at one time?
It actually goes 22 feet, so it's more of a spreader than I actually quoted. It's just already built.
So
Or seam right down the middle,
No.
double.
Only on major roads, because I wouldn't want to get on, say, 300 West or Marzane and do the entire stretch with the traffic flow that goes through there, so we would still split that in half. Those are wider lanes also, since they're old state roads. But yes, it would do that. They have the computer in them, new technology to conserve material, to get precision instead of what we're doing with a 21-year-old unit that's not even calibrated correctly. We just adjust accordingly to what we see and how it looks. So,
You guys remember last year, I don't remember, it was probably right after I got on, we had the issue on 700 where we changed the aggregate.
Yeah, with the stone.
And the roller wasn't putting it down hard enough, and I had asked him to get quotes back.
Oh,
then
yeah, up on 7.
yes.
about What we might be saving in a machine, we're wasting in aggregate.
I know.
See all
We-
over the road, manpower, lay down time, trucks.
Yes, I agree.
Where does this money come out of? Does he have
That's
the-
the other thing.
Well, I did a rough estimate of what we have left in our budget this year, and from today, we will be we have saved out of our budget, or we'll be handing back to the general fund $600,000.
It won't be given to the general fund, it'll go it'll stay on.
It'll stay in my account, but not in my yearly budget. I'd have to have it reappropriated.
Is this a restricted, unrestricted type of monies that,
Could use his 11 set, he could use his restricted for that. He doesn't have that kind of money in there.
right, but he could combine funds to make that work?
Pay part out of one and part out of another.
Just have to cut the cost of this chip spreader into what, 17 pieces? Cut it from all the different funds then?
No, we'd put it in the one fund in 1173, being the restricted, because its sole purpose is to improve the roadways.
Oh, true.
It had no other use, so it all could come out of 1173.
Well, I think you only have 100,000 left.
We would have to transfer the other money into 1173. The majority of the money is coming out of stone and aggregates, about 250,000 that we're returning, which half of that is at least 1173.
So it can be done. Council would have to approve the transfers, which should really not make a bit of difference.
Can I ask a few
Picture why.
questions?
Yes.
What was the overall price again?
398,000, and I had this exact unit that we have now quoted for today if I was to order it, and then increase would be, it's 433,000 for the exact unit if I was to put in a new order and this one was not here.
Are there any other aspects of this machine? Like, is there a public safety aspect of this? Is it a unique piece of equipment we couldn't get anywhere else? That what you're looking at?
I've found two options. One option, they're ordering, so I can't get anything sooner than 6 months. And where I got the quotes from was the same dealership that this used ones come from, Southeastern, and then there's also Brandeis, has Leeboys. And the quotes I got are from Southeastern, and I actually have 3 quotes from them. This machine, a 19 to 18 width, and a 10 to 20 width. And they're all right around the 400,000 mark, and this is the only one I have under 400,000, and it's actually on the ground.
And to your point too, Colin, the current chip spreader is either not functioning or where the computer in that is essentially shot. So the ability for us to use the current chip spreader beyond river season is questionable. So we don't.
Repair right here is 42
Right
grand.
now, we really don't.
That's just
have
half of the repair.
Right, and that's half the
Use,
repair.
either replacing or significant rehab for the existing one.
Colin, I would say there is a safety concern, because again, when this spreader goes down the road, the one we have now, and the reason I brought it up last year, is it leaves a berm on each side. Leaves one down the middle, and then all that debris gets pushed into the intersections. And then that's where they have to go sweep the intersections and clean off all the debris. It doesn't roll it in. I mean, we've had plenty of complaints, and I would say that just the debris, the loose gravel being on the roads is a safety concern that I would brought up last year.
I carried a blow pack around this year because you never know when this machine's gonna turn on or turn off, and it's been worked on 4 times and they cannot correct the issue. There's sometimes it won't turn on for 6 feet, and then here we are driving in our asphalt material. And there's other times where it'll turn on quicker than you think, and then you end up with a lot of stone. So I walked around personally with a blow pack blowing all this loose stone off, and as Jeff mentioned earlier, it is a waste of material.
My concern's more with just the purchasing statute, because if it does fall under that special purchasing method, then we're relieved of the need to go to RFPs or RFQs for new equipment. So what we would do is just put I would need something from you at some point for our file that would kind of lay all that out, and I'll help you out with that, just to make sure that we're following that statute, since it's over $50,000. That's my.
Okay, yeah.
Anytime there's a public purchase, my first thought is, how are we going to do this? And then the question is if we can do it, then is everybody going to be on board with it? But it sounds like there's a special circumstance here, so.
It will improve us reducing the amount of crown in our county roads as well. If you ever drive down some county roads, you're holding to the left to stay in your lane. This is going to help alleviate over time. It's not going to do every road all at once, but it's going to prevent us from making it worse down the road.
There's like 5 points in that special purchase. One is, is there an emergency condition while
Yes.
this is breaking down? Is there a safety concern? There is a safety concern. Yes. Is there substantial savings to the county if we go this route? And it sounds like all of those are true.
Yes. To repair ours, they're quoting $100,000. All the way to, I wanted to know what a trade-in would be for ours, since they knew us so well, and they said it requires so much work, we don't want anything to do with it. So it's scrap or it's auction.
21 years old, right?
Yes.
I would make a motion that we move forward, subject to the concerns Colin just mentioned, that we do it right, don't want to do it right, so that's my motion.
I second that. That one to the council tomorrow, or does that have to go on their agenda prior?
This unit also is, there's no guarantee. There's 4 other quotes out there on it. So if we move forward and we do it in more time than what we have available, we may have to look at ordering one. There's no guarantee this one could be here when we approach it.
If that would help him, maybe hold that. Would we like to add that to the motion?
Yeah, absolutely.
A letter of intent to help secure this, so pending what we find here with council. Favor aye?
Aye.
3-0.
I'll add on this machine, they also gave us a 3, 5, and 7 year option for payments. So, but there's interest rates involved and time frame. So I also made something here. It's my part of a letter of intent, and to show you the finance options. So I was going to get this done.
Please. Thank you for the legwork you did on that.
Yes. Next issue I have is we lost, now 2, last meeting, I believe, no, 2 meetings ago, somebody gave their 2 weeks' notice as an employee. Here recently, we have another employee that gave us 2 weeks' notice. His last day's Friday. He is leaving to go to a neighboring county, once again because of money. We've had 8 people have left our highway department since May of 21. Up until 12 of 22 as of this Friday. 6 of them left for more money, 2 for other reasons. 2 of them which had less than a year of service with us. We hired them as a replacement of another loss, and then they left us within a year. So we spent quite a bit of money on training this person, getting them where they needed to be to do the job we wanted them to do, and they already left for more money. So that was money wasted, just even having those people. And I see this happening more and more in the future. I'm running a ship here, and I don't want to see this ship sink. And I am foreseeing this being an issue because come next year of March, I also have 6 people eligible for retirement. So not only those are my experienced people with 20 plus years. So when we lose them, we lose the experience, we're going to lose the quality of work that we're doing out there unless we can retain employees. We have 4 new drivers this year out there in routes for snow, which I don't like. 4 is about 25% of our snow workforce. That's quite a bit to me. We're going to have to put a lot of time into them to get them where we want them to be, to give them the level of quality that we've given over the years. The neighboring county got almost a 25% raise on October 31st of this year. So they didn't even go through their budgets. They went and said, we see we have a problem, and they fixed it. Well, I'm not going to say they fixed it yet, but they're battling it.
Huntington?
Yes. And another neighboring county is well on its way to do the same thing. They have done their increases. They are higher paid than us, and when they get done, they're probably going to match, if not be higher than Huntington, for my understanding.
What did we do this year, 7%?
Yes. Which was still less than cost of living.
What does that number put your, I shouldn't say entry level, but your bottom tier per hour?
7%? 22.29, I believe. I must have left that note.
What are they going to Huntington for?
24.50 to start.
That's not even with the CDL position, correct?
That was the highway employee. They also, as we tried doing, separating job classifications, they have higher job classifications such as operators and other things, got the same increase. So I can't tell you the exact dollar that they're making, but they're up higher than the 24.50 to start as a starting employee.
I think some of the starting employees can be, or experienced employees may be up in the $26 range, depending on the equipment categorization that they're under.
Yeah. Yeah, their equipment operators before the raise were making $23 an hour.
So they got a 415.
What'd you say for experienced people?
415 on top of it. I should put
27?
23, yeah, that should be 27.14 is what an equipment operator's making in Huntington. I might go see if I can still run equipment. Huntington also offers a longevity bonus where they pay their employees $100 per years of service every year. So a new employee over there in his first year will get a $100 bonus. A 20-year employee will get, yep. We have an employee at 37 years right now.
Rates have exploded nationwide. It is.
Yes. My 37-year employee that's put in his devotion and time to the county makes the same amount of money as the guy that starts tomorrow. But I believe that 37-year veteran has more value to us than a new employee.
Just due to experience and know-how.
Definitely.
For attention.
Yep.
I just want to see the county continue to grow and stay above water.
We want the same thing, and you are doing a great job for us, so now that we have this information, we can explore what our options are.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nate?
Meant to end this out earlier, but then got talking to Jared after the drainage board, so there's a couple notes.
Oh, I guess we'll still take it.
This looks real short, but.
Where's the rest of it?
I know, well, there's a stack of files here. So when you think this is gonna go quick, it's the annual bids. So I've got the annual bids for construction materials for the highway department here. So I'm just gonna go through those. What I'll do is I'll read off who they are, open them, kind of make sure that we've got the paperwork for it, if you don't mind. Just, you got a knife with you. So first bid I have is from Asphalt Materials out of Indianapolis, Indiana. They've submitted bids on what looks like item number 3, liquid asphalt, yeah, so.
Sean, real quick, were we supposed to discuss the permit fee ordinance today?
I'm sorry. Yes,
Permit fees.
I forgot to stick that on the, you want to come back to it, or?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go back to it real quick, if you
Okay.
don't mind, Nate, is that all right?
Okay, I'll keep going, all right.
But Nate's gonna discuss, Sean's gonna discuss the,
Colin and I was discussing to finalize this today. I believe that we found a couple issues that we may want to address before we rediscuss it. So I didn't know, would you like to table it? Or will you,
I'd like to see a draft copy of exactly what we're gonna be signing with the corrections and modifications.
draft?
I do, but we're gonna change it again because we've got, every time we seem to get
That's why it's
something
a-
done, something else comes up. So
Right.
what I'm gonna do, if the commissioner's okay, is to perhaps either table this or take it off the agenda, so I can set up a sort of a subcommittee with you and Jared and get this thing at least up to specifications in your mind, and then present that to the commissioners and move forward with that, if that's okay.
So we'll have all of that kind of buttoned down in a rough draft form before our next meeting.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so we'll just table it till.
Do we consider what you have a rough draft, though? Because we have.
I do
added-
have something, but I'd like to, we gotta
See it
talk
in
with
its
Jared.
entirety.
Yeah, I don't wanna do a patchwork here.
Okay.
Okay, might as well do it all at once rather than piecemeal it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, I've got a bid from Asphalt Materials. They gave us bids for the A90 and the A90S. A90 at $2.54.8 cents per gallon, or $611.42 a ton. The A90S goes up to $2.89.8 cents per gallon, or $695.42 a ton. Asphalt Materials have bids from Clint Group for the liquid asphalt materials as well.
Sorry.
Take that hole off there. There we go. I got numbers from K-Tech for A90 at $2.29.9 per gallon. A similar A90S, $2.59.9 per gallon. There's a number of other materials on here as well, as far as their dust stop and chip block at $1.85 per gallon delivered. So there's those two. There's the other K-Tech one I had. Oh, this is, that's the quarry one. There we go, sorry. Bituminous dust control from Clint Group. And then got a bid for first application of $1.64 per gallon, second application $1.69 per gallon. Desktop delivered to Wells County in trucks, so this would be unapplied, would be at $1.40 per gallon. Let's see, I got those two for aggregates. I got a bid from Rock Creek Stone Quarry for stone. Just read off a couple of there. Yeah, that's just multiple copies of that, okay. 20s, NDOT 20s came in at $8.05 per ton. 53 stone came in at $8.05 a ton. The number 11 chip stone at $13.35 per ton. And there's a couple other items on there from Rock Creek. IMI submitted a bid for stone.
They do it by quarry, IMI?
They may have just done one, or I will see if I've got others here. Sometimes they just give us all one location number. Okay, they have these by the different plants here, so I'm gonna read the Bluffton plants. There is slight differences between these, so when we're done, I'll probably recommend we take these under advisement before we do anything else with them, so we can go through, because there's a lot of numbers I'm running over here. Similar numbers from them. They don't have the NDOT 20s available through IMI, at least it's not listed here, but they do have the 5373s. They have a commercial rate at $9.50 per ton, at NDOT at a state rate, so this would be meeting state specifications for testing at $13.75 per ton. The numbers for the Montpelier plant are identical, both $9.50 and $13.75. Is that the same chipstone, that 12 there?
Yes.
12 Class A, they have that at $13.75 a ton. At Bluffton, at Montpelier, that number 12 Class A stone is $15 a ton. And then there's some other changes on a couple of these numbers here in the Huntington plant as well. And we can make those, these will be available for review after that today. US Aggregates. Oop, this one's not open. There you go. Oh, I'll do Stone Street Quarries. All right, both of these are for the Poe plant from Stone Street Quarries. They're 53s, 73s, 20s, and number 11 crushed limestone are all the same number at $12.75 a ton. Their number 12 crushed chipstone is at $19.55 a ton. And they also have some pricing for like recycled concrete and stone sand as well. US Aggregate submitted a bid for the stone. Let's see, 53s and 73s. I actually have the same number. They're $9 a ton. Their number 12 chipstone is at $10 a ton. They're also offering like the number 11 stone at $14.25 a ton. And this is from their Lynn Grove plant. Pleasant Mills, they have an all-weather patch, but that's all they're offering from Pleasant Mills, which would be their cold patch at $120 a ton. I have a this is not a bid. That is something for Lisa. Nope. A bid from ATB. That's a timber bridge company that we use on a couple of our timber bridges. We end up having to buy products for replacement guardrails. And they're providing a product list as well. Yeah, American Timber Bridge, Timber Puckett has submitted that. Just read off a couple of items here. Like a 60-foot treated timber pile, they sell at $75 a lineal foot for the pile. If you're looking at a 20 to a 40-foot timber treated pile, those are round piles, they're down to $35.95 a lineal foot. Treated timber railing is $5,250 for, what's that, board foot. And their glue lamb treated beams are $9,525 for that similar unit, the MFBM. There's a couple of other items on that list as well, but I'll skip over that for the purposes of time here. I've been told that the other counties, when they're doing their annual bids, they read every line, every one. So it turns out to be about a 2-hour review, so I'm considering this page here from St. Regis. Brian Reed submitted a pipe list for their fittings. For the purposes of this, I'm not gonna read all the numbers because there's every spec of galvanized coatings, lining, sizes, gauges of steel. There's about, say about 30 pages of individual line items on here, so if anybody wants those, they're available for review. And CivilCon also provides pipe material bids. They do everything from our aluminum boxes, culvert accessories, actually aluminum plate structures, steel plate, and we've got the various pipe sizes, pipe diameters here. Couplers as well for HDPE, steel, and erosion control products. It does look like they've got both their bid bonds and their list of different products that they've submitted. So we'll make sure that Lisa gets a copy of all that as well. She wants to have that in her office.
Where do they ship their product from, Silvacon?
Because St. Regis is coming out of Michigan. CivilCon, they're based out of Jeffersonville, Indiana, but some of the products are coming out of Contact, and I know that'll come out of Kentucky from their plant down there. Some of the other products, I know, well, they also will quote, they've probably got some listed for precast bridge boxes and flanges. They're quoting some of these items here, but some of that comes out of JJ's or County Concrete, which is called, the big stuff comes out of like Wisconsin. So it just, there is a clearinghouse, they end up having a number of different vendors underneath them that they supply through. So I get a wider variety of products through CivilCon than St. Regis, but St. Regis is kind of their own manufacturer. So they essentially only work with different gauges of steel pipe. So I usually can't get plastic or concrete through St. Regis, but CivilCon is my only real available competitor to them. And then the last bid here was National Oil. So this will be the diesel bid. I'll see attached. All right. So these numbers obviously will vary depending on the commodity price at the time. So this was dated December 1st for their pricing. So their on-road diesel fuel was $4.0212 per gallon. Off-road diesel fuel was $3.4863 per gallon. They have another off-road diesel with a kerosene. They have a 90-10 mix on the kerosene at $3.6396 per gallon. Off-road diesel fuel with an 80-20 kerosene mix at $3.7929 per gallon. So with this, obviously, what we've got is you comparing their freight and margin rates over the commodity price at that time. So that does fluctuate, but we are locking in their freight and margin that they add per gallon on these. So, all right. So that's it. Those were the bids that we had. Those are available for anybody. I know we got a couple of the bidders here that want to look at those afterwards, so Sean may take those out so that they can get copies of each other's bids.
I make a motion, we let the gentleman take it under advisement and bring back recommendations.
Seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Zero.
Thank you very much for your patience.
Gentlemen,
And thank you for all the bidders that supplied numbers on that. I know it's a lot of work to put all this stuff together, so I don't want to make light of their effort in doing the work either, so. Just updates on Bridge 19. I was notified by the contractor that the precast concrete for that three-sided box was delayed at the plant, so they're actually just now starting the fabrication. So that won't be until probably after Christmas that box is really ready. I'm gonna probably encourage him not to start work until after the start of the new year anyway. So I was kind of week to week as far as when he might start, and right now it sounds like it'll probably be the new year. So, which means he'll call me tomorrow and says he wants to start this week, but I'll keep you posted as that goes through. Small structures, wanted to make you aware of this in the meeting. I've sent notices out to the city of Bluffton so that they're aware of this. It's a small structure, Harrison 1059. It's a small structure on River Road. It's the small structure immediately adjacent to the covered pedestrian bridge on the River Greenway. So if you know where that little bridge is, that structure is a small structure. It's actually, for us, is only a 19-foot span there for the road. But on the latest inspection report this year, it came back recommended at 17-ton weight limit on that. Yes, so that'll be going down to a 17 ton. So we'll be posting that here in the next week or two as soon as we get the signs together to post that. It's still high enough that school buses can use that safely. That's really not a concern. The issues with the structure is that when it was a state road or became a state road, it was widened from the original box. Where that widening has happened, there's a problem with between the existing slab and that panel slab that's over the additions, the widening of it. There was a crack in one of the wing walls. That's really not the biggest issue with it. It's the new cracks that we found since the most recent inspection report. So that's what ended up coming up with it. The reason I'm bringing up now is, one, it's a fairly heavily traveled road, and it's a new weight restriction on what's not a bridge. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of it. We'll be posting that. So it really isn't subject to agricultural traffic. It's really not a really great cut through, but for the city's operations and for ours, it becomes a bit more of a concern. So we'll be monitoring it. I'm meeting with some consultants as far as putting it into our asset management plan here for the next 5 years, because I really need to try to work this in. Based on where we're at as far as the workflow I've got, I don't know that short of throwing some money at this, that we could do this before 2025. So it's going to be that way for a while unless we start cutting some additional funds loose to try to expedite it. Complicating the factor is that this is over a 10.5 square mile watershed. Essentially, it drains an area larger than all of Bluffton in size. It goes all the way from the railroad north of Liberty Center, east and south side. So,
Do we have anything on record for previous engineering of it?
no, not that I'm aware of. I was looking through to see if I had anything of it. A lot of the bridges that were kind of created as part of the state road projects in the WPA days of the 30s and 40s, they needed to widen it to meet state standards, so they just added on to the structures. So they just would find it, essentially bolt into the side of the existing structure, and then add whatever they needed to, whether it was timber or concrete. Thankfully, this was at least concrete at the time.
How will this affect the pedestrian bridge?
It does not. And so right now, the concern is that I can't just open the watershed up and then potentially wash the pedestrian bridge
That's
off.
exactly what I'm.
So the structure is always going, it's not going to be a situation where we can raise this road and raise this structure so it doesn't flood, because River Road goes under feet of water. It's in the floodway, it's in the Army Corps flowage easement, so this is going to be a complicated small structure. I can't just go to Civilcon, for example, and buy a 3-sided box. This is going to have to take some time, and it's going to be quite a bit of permitting. So it's just, it is what it is. I don't like to see that, but if I compared the previous inspection to the one that was done this year, there was some noticeable cracks and deterioration that have happened in that 4-year period. So.
I know that this last year, put a lot of riprap and placed it.
Yep. There's some suck holes that are nearby there, and so they've done.
Upper Wabash
Oh, yes.
Committee, and
Yep.
they arranged to get more riprap to be there.
Yep. So and this
A
one's,
3-sided box will not be,
well, if it's a 3-sided box, it's going to be a very large 3-sided box and would be then classified as a bridge. So it'll go from Harrison 1059 to Bridge 404 or 405 in the system. So that's what I'm having. I've had one meeting with an engineer last week, and I've got a meeting with another engineer next week, and some calls out to some others that are all looking at this, kind of concerned because of the competing interest in it. The size of the watershed, the floodplain of the Wabash River, So how do you model? You have to model all of the Wabash River and how it floods back when doing the design of this. So it's complicated things. And then the pedestrian bridge nearby, what impacts theoretically you may have on that. So a lot of things to weigh, a lot of things to balance out. Just, I want to make sure everybody is aware of why we're putting a load rating on there. It's not for fun. It is a necessary thing for us. Last thing I've got is any right-of-way dedications. We had a stack of them come to my office. I think you probably got a few more.
I do. We have some utility permits and.
Oh, you have some utility permits too.
So, yes. Well, that was the one you gave me.
Oh, those are ones from last week. So we had already approved those from before.
Were these the ones that weren't signed?
I think you probably changed some signature pages on those, but
That's
they
what
were
it is,
approved
yeah.
at the last meeting.
That's
So
right.
they should be able to sign those since they
Clean those
approved
up.
them before.
But I do have about 20 things for you guys to sign here, so.
All right, so
Motion to accept the right-of-way dedications.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
3-0.
even the short list for me turns into a lot, so.
Ladies? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Sandra Bain, I'm the Transportation Program Manager, and I'm going to give you the stats. The first page is our annual, let me get my notes here. My annual comparison for '22 from January to November. The prior years are to the end of the year. So for 2022, we're up 25,112 trips. The cumulative comparison for the yearly from January to November for each year, 2022, the prior years are also from January to November, is 25,112 trips. We're getting a little headway. The November monthly trip comparison, and which is an average for the month of November, is 2,583 trips. That should be page 3. Okay. Trips per business day through the month of November is 111 trips per day. We are seeing average. It's the average. Then we have the ridership in age group, which the majority of people are 18 to 59, which is 47%, and that's us taking them to work, to grocery, socializing, whatever necessities that they need for the trips. The second one is 39%, which is the seniors, which is the doctors, the groceries, taking them to dinner and picking them back up, socializing. And then the third one is the students, which are 6 to 18, school, curricular activities, picking up for practice and those sorts of things. And then, of course, we have 3% for the infants, which would be with the parents. And the annual data, the total trips are 25,112, and those passenger miles are 133,716. The gallons of gas that we've had to purchase is 14,249 at the cost of $56,801. We're also working with NDOT and RTAP on our Wells County Council on Aging preventative maintenance plan for all the maintenance on our vehicles. We will work with them and to update the prior preventative maintenance plan. It's from May of 2021. And after we get that revised, it will start January of 2023, and then we'll be able to be compliant with all the regulations that they have for us for the PMP permit. That's all I have.
Is that 111 trips per day the average year to date?
Yes, it is the average, the 111, that's the average. Get back to that page.
That would be like 2 trips, one taking them and one picking and bringing them back.
Yeah, each
Right,
trip is
it's considered
separate.
one trip,
It's
yeah.
not the same person, it's a trip.
Right, it might be a different driver even.
That surprised me a little bit with total trips being 25,000, so it's up 4,000 trips. Average is the same as.
For the monthly trips, the comparison,
November, it's, let's say 2020 was 21,292,
right?
111 average. And then this one's 25, 11, 12 at 111 average.
Less vehicles, less drivers, more vehicles, more drivers, possible?
Go ahead, Betsy.
We actually, during COVID, went from 12 full-time drivers, 12 drivers, 8 of them being full-time, 4 being part-time, down to 7 drivers, with only 2 being full-time. Now, we are starting to add more drivers as we're adding the trips. So, and then, that average also includes holidays, days that we have to be closed in the winter if we would be closed for some reason. So, if we have extreme ice or snow and we feel it's not safe to provide transportation, we'll close for the day. So,
Less days or more days, I get it.
yeah. And then, of course, the fact that we're transporting so many school-age children when they have their breaks, that impacts our number of trips per day as well, so.
So how big is our fleet? How many vehicles do we run every day?
14.
We have 14 vehicles, but we run probably on average 10 a day. So we have a couple because there's, as anybody knows, there's constant repair on vehicles and we cannot get new vehicles at all right now. So we're kind of keeping.
Access to them, they're not making them, or such a lead time, or?
A combination. But that's something that I'm going to address is we had 5 vehicles canceled on us in 2020 and 2021. And NDOT has asked us to have you sign a letter of de-obligation of those funds because they just canceled the contracts. They couldn't get the materials. They only had so many vehicles that they were able to produce. And so they kind of went alphabetically for the most part, and being Wells County, we're at the bottom of the
Right.
list. So we didn't get any of our 5.
Do we have are we at risk of running out of vehicles or having not enough vehicles to cover the runs we need?
No, the only time that we might run into that is if we have numerous vehicles in the shop, which is happening more often because our small transits were built in 2009. They're considered a 2010 because that's when we received them, but they were actually built in 2009, so they're 13 years old. And they went through the assembly line so fast that they probably weren't the best quality vehicles. We weren't real pleased, but it was what it was. That's what we got. So those are really starting to show their age and costing us a lot more in repair cost. And then our newest vehicle that we have is a 2019 minivan. All the rest are anywhere from 2012 to 2016.
How many do we have scheduled for replacement next year?
We don't have any rescheduled for replacement next year. They had nothing they didn't even open it up for vehicles in 2023. The earliest that we might be able to get vehicles would be in 2024. So that's my plan, is to write and include that in the grant, a capital grant to hopefully secure vehicles. It'll be a big hit for us because by the time 2024 runs around, we're probably going to replace all of the small transits and maybe some of the minivans. So that's going to be a huge hit on our budget. But, safety's number one, and the fact that it's costing us so much in maintenance repairs.
Okay.
Any other questions for Sandy? Sorry.
It's all right. No, I appreciate it.
So, okay. Well, first, I just like to say thank you all for your support. We do appreciate the fact that the county supports us and the city also. And I'd like to invite you all, if you've never been over to the Council on Aging, to come over and take a tour of our facility, meet our employees, kind of see how we run. You'll see the vehicles out in the parking lot, but most people don't understand the inner workings of the facility and the Council on Aging being basically on one side as a resource center, and then the transportation is totally on the other side, kind of took over that whole side of the building because we've grown so much since we became public transit in 2005. So that offer is open to you if you just want to stop in unannounced, or you can give us a jingle to make sure one of us is there to kind of give you a tour and explain how things work. I'd like to, put that out there on the table for you.
Thank you very much.
One thing that I was asked before we go to the signing of the invoice is NDOT did ask that I verify our point of contact for the county. Right now, we have Lisa listed as our point of contact with her email address and her phone number. If that's how you would like to keep it, I will verify that everything's good, or would you like to see changes and have?
I don't see a reason to change that.
Okay.
Unless you do, Lisa.
Okay, so I will address that. And then we do have the third quarter claim. You had 2 copies, Lisa, and I have a blue pen if you need a blue pen, that I'd like to get signed so I can get that submitted to NDOT and we can get reimbursed for our third quarter expenses.
I'll make the motion to allow Mr. Rainover make that signature.
Seconded.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then the last thing that I have is the letter, and I did forward it to you, Michael, I'm not sure if you saw it. I sent it to you, Wes County, for you to sign and date. And that's the obligation of the funds that we had been awarded by NDOT for the purchase of those vehicles that were canceled.
Do we need a separate motion for this?
Yes.
I'll make that motion to allow signature.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
3-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then that's all I have, unless somebody has questions for me.
Well,
Great.
good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a blessed Christmas.
You
Thank
too,
you.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
You need your pen back, I think. Thank you.
But if you want it, so you have a blue one.
I appreciate it. All right, our economic 3-year plan.
Yes, we need to amend your economic development capital improvement plan because you added some other expenses and rearranged things. I sent you all copies and put them in there.
So it was basically the same except changing the fireworks line item?
From the last time I brought it.
Will the resolution number stay the same then, or?
No, you didn't pass it. Nope. It will be resolution, if you approve it, resolution number 2022-12.
I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
All in favor, aye? 3-0. 2022-12.
Correct.
Okay. And we're down to other business there.
Okay, so really the only thing we have are board appointments. You have applications in your packets for Peterborough and solid waste. And then you also have to do the 911.
Which one do we want to do first? The Peterborough?
Let's look at the solid waste.
Of the three for solid waste, I liked Tucker, because she represents Austin, which is the second largest community in the county.
I think she would do a good job. I have no issues with her.
So I make a motion that we put Stephanie Tucker on the solid waste as our representative.
Is that a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
3-0 for Stephanie Tucker.
Do we have to select Schrock?
No, it's an annual.
Schrock's on there.
So does he go by the calendar year, or does he go by his date of election for the,
I have it down as calendar year,
So he expires on the 31st.
12/31, yep.
So we'd have to reinstate it first of the year,
You can do it now for then.
or, okay.
Yes, any of these will be effective January 1st.
So I make a motion that we reinstate Nathan Schrock on the Peterborough.
All in favor, aye?
aye.
3-0 to reinstate Nathan for another year.
And then we have to replace Chandler, correct?
Correct.
Right. Will this be effective now or effective January 1?
This would be effective January 1, right?
So,
we-
Do they have any meetings?
I don't know, do they?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Can we do two? Can we nominate him
Can
to
we
fill
do
the
it
spot?
effective
Them
now
to
and
do the
including
spot
all of
now
next year?
and Continuation.
Okay.
So the motion would be to fill the spot now and through 2023.
There's no reason why you can't do that.
Okay,
Okay.
so we have 4 applicants.
We have one, I believe the county council will have one this year too. Correct.
Do the commissioners have a suggestion out of these applicants?
I really haven't had two in my mind, but I'll make a motion to,
I was gonna say, one is too close to me, so if it is one, I will abstain. Due to the fact it's my son-in-law, so.
you're gonna have to
And which
abstain
one's that?
because I make the motion that we elect Blake Fichter to the Peterborough.
And I'll abstain.
Or will abstain, yeah. Is elected to abstain. I will second that. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2-0. And 1 abstain.
Didn't we say 911?
Yep.
And so that one for Blake, we'll put him on for the remainder of the year and then for a annual stay there until 12/31. No, sorry, I cut you off there.
We had the 911 board. And what's this sick bank committee that we have an opening on?
Oh, the county has a sick bank that anybody who has accumulated up to 24 sick days, they can't accumulate anymore, so they put that half a day every month into the sick bank. And then for someone who is on FMLA and doesn't have any sick days to use, they've expired all of their time, they can draw from the sick bank. There's paperwork involved. But yeah, there's 3 board members. And I have 3 applications for next time.
Okay. So then we just have to renominate Mike to the 911 advisory board?
I'll make that.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0. And I think that does it for today on those.
I have one thing.
Yes, sir.
Before we change
Please.
gears. Over the time, Nate has been our engineer. He'll bring to us recommendations for bridge, either replacements or repairs. And I would recommend that we allow him to bring something to us, so we at least are in the know of where we are going forward. So we don't get surprised, kind of like this culvert that, whatever, over on the, that kind of stuff, just so we can stay ahead of it. And I would just make a recommendation, it doesn't have to be a motion, but allow him to present to us kind of like a 4 or 5 year plan on our bridges.
I think that's wise.
What I can do pretty easily is just at your next meeting, what I'll do is I'll bring the 5-year look ahead of the bridge
Sufficiency
plan.
rating or whatever
Look
too.
at some of our sufficiencies and kind of see what's the cash value of these projects we've had in this 5-year plan? Because right now we've been kind of waiting for grants for projects, but that delays action on your asset management plan, and I'm afraid you're going to be, one thing I am concerned of is that by delaying it, you're essentially delaying the inevitable, and the fact that all that is going to cost us more money. But end of the year is a good chance to go through kind of where are we at with the asset management plan, and what are we going to try to apply for here in the next 2 or 3 years.
I like that idea. I don't like surprises. That bridge closure at Zanesville kind of caught everybody off guard, and it kind of gets us in a position that, hey, let's work ahead, keep things in the queue, so we stay ahead of it. So,
I'd also like to say thank you to everyone who did apply for these positions. Definitely encouraged by the engagement we're getting from the public, so thank you. Anything from you, Colin,
No, thank you.
Commissioner?
No?
Anyone out here? Please.
Wondering if what I presented you was good enough for a letter of intent, just to put a short hold on that?
Yeah, well, I would need it on your letterhead, so, if you need help writing that, and I can kind of tell you what I need, but we can.
Is that different letterhead than that one?
Wait, you handed me a letter that already, I just had the financing.
So I
That was
guess,
just an option.
No, it's something separate, and I'll give you a call tomorrow, and I'll tell you what it is.
so is Sean able to just sign a letter of intent on behalf of the county then, I guess would be the question?
I could do it, or Sean could. That's-
I think-
As long as one of them is allowed to sign it in absence of the commissioners. then-
Not knowing if they're used to that sort of thing, if it comes from the county attorney's letterhead, a lot of times that can be me. I'm happy to do that, and if they have any questions, they can reach out.
I would like to defer to the county attorney and let him make that determination. Go from there. Anything else?
Yeah, one more, sorry.
Please.
I left out the county highway update for the garage. I haven't had a chance to get out there since the meeting to see if the dates and times matched what said would happen, but Connor tomorrow in council will be doing his presentation, so all the information on that.
Perfect. Thank you.
I know the tile has been connected with the overflows.
I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Hey, Nate,
Send it on.